Hey, Mommy. I am sitting on the couch. It's like 11:40 here, and I'm still on New York time, so that means it's almost 3 o'clock for me. So I'm exhausted, so I'm going to keep it real short. I had a really good day. Had my meeting, and then I picked up Linda from the airport, and then I went to my improv show, and I totally bombed. I sucked. Royally. But Linda was there, which was nice. Kind of sucked to suck in front of Linda, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I sucked. And then I brought her back to the dorms, and then we went to Blockbuster, and we got Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. And it's a really cute movie. It really is. I enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. Yay, enjoying. And to finish off, I will tear out a chapter from our book here, which I'm not mentioning the title of to hopefully avoid copywriting laws. My English not working today. We're on book 5. It's about how to live your life. This section may be called It's About How to Live Your Life, but it's really about how I've tried to live mine. I guess it's my way of saying, here's what worked for me. Chapter 28, Dream Big. Men first walked on the moon during the summer of 1969 when I was 8 years old. I knew then that pretty much anything was possible. It was as if all of us all over the world had been given permission to dream big. I was at camp that summer, and after the lunar module landed, all of us were brought to the main farmhouse, where a television was set up. The astronauts were taking a long time getting organized before they could climb down the ladder and walk on the lunar surface. I understood. They had a lot of gear, a lot of details to attend to. I was patient. But the people running the camp kept looking at their watches. It was already after 11. Eventually, while smart decisions were being made on the moon, a dumb one was made here on Earth. It had gotten too late. All of us kids were sent back to our tents to get to sleep. I was completely peeved at the camp directors. The thought in my head was this: my species has gotten off of our planet and landed in a new world for the first time, and you people think bedtimes matter? But when I got home a few weeks later, I learned that my dad had taken a photo off of our TV set the second Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. He had preserved the moment for me, knowing it could help trigger big dreams. We still have that photo in a scrapbook. I understand the arguments about how the billions of dollars spent to put men on the moon could have been used to fight poverty and hunger on Earth. But look, I'm a scientist who sees inspiration as the ultimate tool for doing good. When you use money to fight poverty, it can be of great value, but too often you're working at the margins. When you're putting people on the moon, you're inspiring all of us to achieve the maximum of human potential, which is how our greatest problems will eventually be solved. Give yourself permission to dream. Fuel your kids' dreams too. Once in a while, that might even mean letting them stay up past their bedtimes. And there's a little picture that his father took off of the television set. And I just think it's cool because I think that you've always fueled my dreams. I mean, just look at me out here in LA, and you let me stay up past my bedtime, and you totally have just always been the person to do that, and let me paint on my wall and all those things. And the next chapter isn't even a page, so I'm going to read one more. In chapter 29, earnest is better than hip. I'll take an earnest person over a hip person every time, because hip is short-term, earnest is long-term. Earnestness is highly underestimated. It comes from the core. Well, hip is trying to impress you with the surface. Hip people love parodies, but there's no such thing as a timeless parody, is there? I have more respect for the earnest guy who does something that can last for generations and that hip people feel the need to parody. When I think of someone who's earnest, I think of a Boy Scout who works hard and becomes an Eagle Scout. When I was interviewing people to work for me and I came upon a candidate who had been an Eagle Scout, I'd almost always try to hire him. I knew that there had to be an earnestness about him that outweighed any superficial urges towards hipness. Think about it. Becoming an Eagle Scout is just about the only thing you can put on your resume at age 50 that you did at age 14, and it still impresses. Despite my efforts at earnestness, I never did make it to Eagle Scout. Fashion, by the way, is commerce masquerading as hip. I'm not at all interested in fashion, which is why I rarely buy new clothes. The fact that fashion goes out of fashion and then comes back into fashion based solely on what few people somewhere think they can sell, well, to me, that's insanity. My parents taught me you buy new clothes when your old clothes wear out. Anyone who saw what I wore to my last lecture knows this is advice I live by. My wardrobe is far from hip. It's kind of earnest. It's going to carry me through just fine. And here he is. Say it again. Our wardrobe hasn't changed. Oh. Okay. These chapters are all so short. Okay. Last one, I promise. Raising the white flag. My mother always calls me Rudolph. She was raised on a small dairy farm in Virginia during the Depression, my mother always calls me Randolph. She was raised on a small dairy farm in Virginia during the Depression. Wondering if there'd be enough food for dinner, she picked Randolph because it felt like the name some classy Virginian might have, and that may be why I rejected and abandoned it. Who wants a name like that? And yet my mother kept at it. As a teen, I confronted her. Do you really believe your right to name me supersedes my right to have my own identity? Yes, Randolph, I do, she said. Well, at least we knew where we stood. By the time I got to college, I had had enough. She'd send me mail addressed to Randolph Posh. I'd scrawl no such person at this address on the envelope and send the letters back unopened. In a great act of compromise, my mom began addressing letters to R. Posh. Those I'd open. But then, we'd talk on the phone. She'd revert back to the old form. Randolph, did you get our letter? Now, all these years later, I've given up. I'm so appreciative of my mother on so many fronts that if she wants to burden me with the unnecessary "ulf" whenever she's around, I'm more than happy to put up with it. Life is too short. Somehow, with the passage of time and the deadlines that life imposes, surrendering became the right thing to do. And it says, Mom and me at the beach. So yeah, we'll read more chapters later. I love you. All my heart. Oh, and I thought of you, last thing. I thought of you today because I was in my scene, one of the improv scenes in the improv show that I bombed. And it was like in the biblical era. And I just thought it was funny because there was like a Moses character, and he said, "You guys figure something out to do while I go up on Mount Sinai and talk to the big guy." And I was like, "I know, we could build a golden calf." And I thought it was really funny, but only one guy in the audience got it, and he started clapping and laughing, and everyone else just didn't get it. So anyway, I thought you'd appreciate that. I love you, Mommy. Bye. I hope you're feeling better today.